Hey everyone, it's Mandy. Welcome to my channel. It's been a little bit since I had one of these little let's sit down and chat videos, but I'm really feeling like talking. And today I want to talk about Final Fantasy. So, Final Fantasy IX recently had its 25th anniversary. Congratulations, Final Fantasy IX. Gosh, I love that game. I remember playing it for the first time. It was on stream, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. I love that game so much. It's magical. I played it again on stream like 4 years later or something like that, and I loved it even more the second time around. The gameplay is so fun and so solid. It's one of those where I actually did feel like doing everything I could possibly do in the game, which is rare for me. But I love that game. I love it. I love it. I love every party member feels so alive and feels so good, and they're just so unique and so fun to play as. All of them, they all have a different role in the party, and they're just so fun. It tells an amazing story. Vivi is the best boy to ever exist. Vivi. I love Vivi so much. So all of this to say, 25th anniversary just happened. There have been rumors for years about a Final Fantasy IX remake. And everyone kind of thought this would be the year to announce it. So the 25th anniversary officially happened on July 7th. So many people were expecting an announcement of Final Fantasy IX remake, especially with the success of Final Fantasy VII Remake, the leak that happened years ago of a Final Fantasy IX remake, especially after all the other games on that list had come true. We're getting a Final Fantasy Tactics remake, which I really want to play, by the way. Really want to play. I've been wanting to play Tactics for ages, and now I finally can. Previously, I feel like people told me to play the iPad version. But anyway, Final Fantasy IX remake. The anniversary date came and it went, and no remake was announced, unfortunately. I know a lot of people are super bummed. I kind of never expected there to be a Final Fantasy IX remake because, look, of all of the Final Fantasy games out there, Final Fantasy IX always seemed the lowest on the list of games they would be likely to remake, in my opinion. Maybe not the lowest, but one of them. I don't feel like it needs a remake. Are there other Final Fantasy games that I would like to see remade? Maybe. But you know, the interest is out there, and it really opened my eyes to see all these people begging and so excited for a Final Fantasy IX remake. But it kind of makes me think, the interest is there. They should harness that. They should use that. That's the kind of game people want. It doesn't have to be a remake of Final Fantasy IX. Why can't they make a new game, turn-based, with the heart and the story and the character development and the in-depth world building of Final Fantasy IX? Why can't they do that and put all of that power into a new game? I mean, I'm currently playing through Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and that is the best example I can think of, really, of a modern game that Final Fantasy IX fans would be into. It scratches so many of the same types of itches that Final Fantasy IX would, but it's, you know, it's more modern. And I do think that the market is there for it, that people would love that type of game again. It seems like lately in Final Fantasy, they want to go in a totally new direction. They want games to be darker. Well, I mean, games have always been dark in Final Fantasy, let's be real. But they want it to be action. They want it to be fast-paced. You know, they want the flashy graphics and all of that. And I do think we can have those things even in a turn-based game. And Clair Obscur has shown us that. I also don't think we necessarily need it to be super gritty and I don't want to say dark because there are two different ways to use that word. And I feel like Final Fantasy IX is a dark game, although it's part of the beauty of it is like the whimsical nature of it juxtaposed with its dark nature. It has both. And the great thing you can do with that is you have these contrasting elements that make it so interesting. It feels like you're playing a game for children, but you're not. It has themes that are so adult, so complex, and really make you think about life and what that means and what life is and what it means to exist. And it doesn't have to be a game like Clair Obscur or Nier that's dark and gritty to also ask those questions. Final Fantasy IX was doing it, and it looks like a cartoon. Now, I don't think Final Fantasy necessarily needs to go back to that look. I'm just saying it doesn't have to be the most realistic looking game, the most dark, the most gritty. There can be a balance, and it can still tell a captivating and hard-hitting story, even if you can see what's happening on the screen. So I don't know if we're saying goodbye to the Final Fantasy IX Remake project yet. I think actually it could still be happening this year. This is the 25th anniversary year. It is kind of the perfect time to announce it if they're working on it. I think if it doesn't come by the end of the year, if they don't announce it by the end of the year, it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. Maybe for the 30th anniversary. But it did get me thinking, what other Final Fantasies could be remade or should be remade? So the ones I've played 6 through 16, and I've played 4, and I have not played 11. I've played part of 14. So I've played quite a few of them, but not all of them. I would love to see some of the older ones get remade. I haven't played 1 through 3 or 5. I don't know how much of a story those tell. I think maybe the stories kind of start maybe with 2. 1 has some story, but not a deep story from what I remember. I've played half of it. But I personally would love a remake of Final Fantasy VI. If we're gonna remake one of the Final Fantasy games, I would go for 2 of them. I would go for 6 or I would go for 8. And 8 because I actually think you could do a lot more with it. You would have room to give some of the side characters and party members more to do, more backstory and more plot, more character development. They kind of, in the original game, they fall off halfway through and you kind of forget about them. They're not all that important to the central plot. So I would love to see what they could do with that if they retold that story and gave it a little bit more juice in the second half. I would love to see that. It also would just be really cool to see that system, that battle system, again, because it's so interesting. It's one of those that some people hate it, some people never understood it, but if you devote the time to learning it, it's really fun and really powerful. And I think it would be a fun one to replay, especially for the plot. If they focused a little bit more on like what they did with the 7 remake, if they did that for 8, that would be so good. My personal choice, though, would go to Final Fantasy VI, and I would want them to keep the story the same, the characters the same, really almost everything the same, but I would love to see it just with updated graphics. That's all I ask. I think it would be beautiful. I think it would be a beautiful, fun experience, and that's all I really want out of a Final Fantasy VI remake. I just think it would be so good. That story is wonderful. The characters are some of my favorite in the whole series. And the world is so cool. And I really think they could do a lot with that world. And how fun would that be to explore that world in a modern game? Oh, I'm just drooling thinking about it. I also would just adore that soundtrack. To be given the Final Fantasy VII Remake soundtrack treatment. Oh, 6 or 8. I mean, 6 has Terra's theme, which is just everything to me. But 8 has some amazing music as well, and 6 has additional amazing music. So from the music standpoint, I would love it. I would love it for either of them. And from the world standpoint, like either one of them I think would be great. I've also given some thought to what if they somehow in the future, and I don't see them doing this anytime soon, what if they made single player versions of Final Fantasy XIV? So, they took out all the MMO stuff, all of those fetch quests, and just all the MMO busy work that you have to do throughout those games, and really just focus on the story. So you get the single player experience and some of the epic boss fights, but it's just you and your party, and you have a dedicated party, and it's the characters from Final Fantasy XIV. And you can control each of them, and it's maybe turn-based, maybe not, I don't know. Could be action, but you're switching between them. How fun would that be? I think that would be a really cool way to experience those games way off in the future. I really don't see them doing that anytime soon. Final Fantasy XIV is doing great as it is. They really don't need to re-release it as a single-player RPG. And I don't think they ever will. And this is purely coming from somebody who would love to play those games as a single-player RPG, because I'm just not an MMO player. I get through it. I get through Final Fantasy XIV, but I'm not good at it, and that's okay. That's okay. I'm really only playing for the story. It's just one of those wild, far-off dreams that I would love to see one day. I don't see it ever happening, but hey, a girl can dream. So what Final Fantasy game would you guys like to see be remade? And it can be something totally out there like my Final Fantasy XIV, or it can be something more realistic, Final Fantasy IX. I would love to hear your thoughts. Please leave them in the comments below. So I'll keep my eyes peeled for more Final Fantasy IX remake news. We will see what happens there. So excited about the Final Fantasy Tactics remake. I'm gonna love playing that, I think. Really, really excited that it's actually happening and that leak was real. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. I will be back for more chats in the future. This is really fun to just sit down and talk sometimes, because since I'm not streaming anymore, I kind of miss just talking about video games. So I'll see you for the next one soon. Bye everyone.